Hi there, good afternoon to everyone. In this module, we are going to see about the approach to the patient with COVID-19. In this session, it may last at least up to 30 minutes. The objective of this session is the participants will able to approach the patient with COVID-19 in the Department of Trauma and Emergency. To approach the patient coming to the Department of Trauma and Emergency, we are having total 5 scenarios in that, starting from screening. So once the screening got over, then the patient may move on to the triaging, and in the triaging, once it got over, then the patient may move on to re-triaging and also resuscitation and observation. So which means this is the core part of the approach. Resuscitation and observation, if it is there, then if it is got over, then they can move on to transportation or movement either in the ICU, otherwise in the ward. Let's start from the scenario starting from screening. So screening, you can see the left side of the picture. So it represents pure and pure. This patient, as soon as reached to the trauma and emergency department, our staff who wear the full gear of PPE, they can go and receive the patients. So in this you can see it's the patient is shifted from the ambulance stretcher to the hospital stretchers, and then they are accompanying with the 2 personnels. Maybe one is from ambulance and another one is from the patient side. So once they reached there, the staff with the full PPEs of gear, they take the patient inside, and the rest of the things, the security personnel, they can give for hand hygiene to the patient's relatives. In the left side of the picture, you can see the scenario of corona's screening desk. So in that, you can see 2 personnel, they are sitting. So left side of the personnel may be a nursing officer, and the right side of the people, you can see the resident doctor who is sitting there. In that, so you can see the exact scenario there. So they are wearing with a full gear of PPE, and then they are going to screening the patients. So once in the right side of the picture, top side of the picture, that you can see exactly the nursing officer, he or she is going to screen the patient, or he or she is going to screen the patients with the thermal scanner. By the same time, if the patients requires of any oxygenation, from no time they are going to administer the oxygen. That also you can see in that picture. In this you can see the the COVID screening on the trauma and emergency department. So totally there are having 7 questions. It may be subjective or it may be the objective. So what are the questions that we can see? The first question, they may ask whether the patient is travel from any affected area, which may yes or no. And the next thing is the patient who is present there, they are having any history of travel of foreign history. So especially within 30 days, if there is any of travel history. And the next thing is a contact with any positive or a suspected cases. So which means they may sit nearby any of the suspected cases, or they are coming from any positive or suspected zone. And the next thing is an fever, which may yes or no. It is most probably by an objective that you can see with the help of the thermal scanner. And the next thing is cough, that also you can see, which means the patient may cough, that you can see as an objective. The next is sneezing, that is also the same, along with the breathing difficulty, that also you can see that it may be an objective, which means the patient can take use of accessory muscles to breathe in that. So have you tested of any COVID recently, which means if the patient is having of any COVID tested, then if it is negative, then it is also considered as the patient is not at all unsuspect. So COVID-19 negative on screening. At last, finally, they can come to a conclusion whether the patient is tested positive, otherwise of suspected. Once the screening got over, now we are going to move on COVID-19 of undertaking. So which means, as you know, as a nurses, each and every procedure is required of any consents. So in this consent of undertaking form, so the first part you can see here is the undertaking form is having of the demographic data. So down to the demographic data, the first thing is the patient can come even the pandemic situations to come for treatment, the first thing. And the second is the patients may test of COVID-19, and if it is positive, then the patient may move on to the COVID suspect ward, otherwise an exact of COVID ward. And if there is any abnormalities happening a patient inside the COVID ward, then that is the hospital personnel are not responsible for that. So in that, accepting this every scenarios, the patient either or the patient's relatives, they need to sign that okay, I am going for a COVID undertaking of 19. In this module, you can see about the severity of a patient who comes on emergency. The severity may categorize level 1 to level 5. So in this you can see the color codings starting from level 1 to level 5. So level 1, it implies the patients needs some life-saving interventions like an airway compromise, a breathing compromise along with an circulation compromise. So next to that is it is on ESI level 2, which means the patient is having high risk, either deterioration or severe pain, and the vitals are in danger zone. So which means the patients may have more vitals, otherwise less vitals here. And the next thing is on ESA level 3, which means and multiple resources to stabilize the patient, and the vitals are in danger zones. Then ESA level 4, which means only one resource is required to stabilize. ESA level 5 means it is not required of any resources to stabilize the patients. A part of re-triaging. So in this you can see the detailed explanation what triaging is going to happen. So in this you can see the column number A, which means request of immediate life-saving intervention. So this is what considered as the prioritizing of first, and if it is not, then you can move on. If it is no, or if it is not, then you can move on to the ESI level of 2. So which means it is a high risk situation, the airway, breathing and circulation may compromise. So this is what a high risk situation. Otherwise the patient, along with that, the patient may confused and lethargic, then disoriented or severe pain in that. So along with that, and another one thing is which means vitals is getting added, which means a danger zone. So in that you can see of heart rate, then respiratory rate, along with saturation of tissue oxygenation. The heart rate, it may higher more than 100, otherwise less than 60 is considered as a danger zone, danger vital zones for an adult. Then if it is got over, then it can come to of ESI of level 3, which means the first thing, the column number of B won't happening, but the thing is the patient's vital signs are still in danger zones. And then if it has got over, then the next thing is on ESI level 4 as well as 5, which means that is not at all that much important. So according to that, it may categorize in the suspect ward. So in this suspect ward, the ESI level 1 and ESI level 2, they may be categorized and put it in a separate of isolation unit, whereas ESI level of 3 and ESI level of 4, they may shift to either a normal area, otherwise that we can see in our next modules in that. Now the patient may shifted to the resuscitation bay. So in this resuscitation bay, you can see there is a special bed for that, which means the patient may shifted as a Fowler's position, or the patient may can change the positions in that separately. Then you can see the right side, you can see the suction apparatus, then oxygenation that you can see. The left side you can see about the ventilators, then back side you can see the cardiac monitors. So which means for a resuscitation, whatever things are required, that everything should be available in this resuscitation bay. So we can see what you are going to see done in the resuscitation bay. The first thing is, as soon as the patients may reach inside, the first thing, as you know, the bag and mask ventilation is required. So till the intubation time, the patients may require of bag and mask ventilations. Then if there is of any other emergency tracheostomy procedures, if it needs or if it's requires, that also can be proceed inside. So once it got over, then the patients may require of any electrical therapies like defibrillations also you can give from here. And then if there is a need of any procedures like a chest needle insertions or any other intraosseous access, that also you can done. And along with that, if you want of any procedures like FAST, which means a focused abdominal scan for trauma, otherwise any ultrasounds is required, or otherwise any radiological investigations like a closed x-rays, which means a chest x-ray is required, that also you can do from here. And the next thing is of hemodynamics, so which means the patients may require of IV fluids, otherwise of any blood transfusions, otherwise of any control of major bleedings, that also you can done from here. And finally you can go on to these medications. The patients may require of inotropes, then anesthesia, then muscle relaxants, bronchodilators, so whatever, so that you can also done from here. So once the patient can hemodynamically stable, then you can go for an observation, so which means the patient is observed for any deteriorations, otherwise of a deteriorations. Then a sample collections of a COVID-19. So why it is required? Since it is a trauma and emergency departments and a patient is inside the suspect zone, you need to very clear whether it is COVID-19 positive either or COVID-19 negative. The second thing is we can see the observation bay here. So the observation bay is a special bay, which means a bed will be there. Then over the bed that you can see there is having a special wing which covers the entire bed. So that the main aim of this covering is, so whatever the patient's droplet is going to spread in the atmospheric air, so that you need to control, and the atmospheric air, the droplets which is present in the atmosphere, it is fully get suctioned by the top level of floors. So totally you are having of three things you need to do here. The first thing is a hemodynamic stabilizations, and the next thing is on sample collections, and third is for observations. So hemodynamic stabilizations that we can see already, and for sample collections, so since it is a COVID suspect ward, so you need to get sample collections as well as the observations. So this three is going to see in this observation. Now it is an important area where the care of dead bodies or cadavers. So as you know, this is a trauma and emergency department, so most probably there will be having of a crucial situations that most probably or every day you can undergoing here. So the thing is, so whatever the normal death formalities happens, so that you can continue, and since it is a COVID a suspect ward, so you need to go for a special care of cadavers. So the first thing is on here is a 3-layer packing. So what you can do here in this 3-layer packing, so the first layer may be a normal cloth or any cotton cloths, and the next thing should be the dead bodies or cadavers should be wrapped with the help of any plastic covers, and the third thing is you need to go for any waterproof of zip covers, which means this you can use as per your institutional policies also. And once this 3-layer of packing got over, then the body should be labeled. So the labeling exactly contains the name of the patients, then the casualty registration number should be there, then along with that from where the patients comes. So these three things should required in this labeling of the disease. And the third thing is on COVID sample of collection status, so which means the sample collected and the report due. Otherwise it may be happening that the sample of positive cases or this. And third thing is on signature of the body recipient, so which means to whom you are going to hand over this body, either a police people or to the mortuary departments. So these are all the main things that you need to go for this care of dead bodies. We are almost at the end of the session. So whatever the resuscitations as well as the observation got over, now it's time to shift the patient either in an ICU or ward of COVID ward, otherwise a normal ward. So in this slide, we can see what are the special precautions, the criteria for transporting the patients from one area to another area. So as you know, this COVID, which means it is a contagious disease, so whomever is responsible for the shifting, they need to wear off full PPs of gears, and then they need to shift the patients. So you need to shift the patients, the way should not blocked and the way should be free from every crowds. Then there should be a prior informations or intimation should be given to the respective areas where the patients, otherwise the deceased thing is going to shifted there. So total 3 areas are here. The first thing is on COVID isolation, which means an ICUs, otherwise an ward. Then a patient who is getting of a negative samples, a negative of COVID samples, they can shift to the normal ward. Otherwise, a patient or the deceased, that you can shift to the mortuaries or somewhere else. So here is transportation of deceased. So transportation of deceased, mainly you need to follow of the standard operating procedures before shifted the deceased to the mortuary. So the first thing is you need to go through, or you need to cross check the demographic data of the deceased, and the next thing is what are the things you need to finish from the ward or the department. So the first thing is, as soon as the deceased thing is going to shifted from the ward to the mortuary, the first thing is you need to inform to the police informations, and second thing is there should be having of death register entry, and third is from letter from the casualty medical officer for body storaging, then labeling the tag, then the sample taken, the report attached. So report attached or not. So otherwise the sample awaiting, that also you can mention here. And then you need to ensure whether 3 layer of packing got over. Then the next thing is a signature of the body recipient. Then information to security to escort during the transportation. So which means you need to give the prior security information, otherwise the security, you need to alert them that the way should be clear, which means the suspect case or the positive cases crossing the area from there. Now the deceased is reached to the mortuary. So what are the things, or what is the standard operating procedures of mortuary for storage? So the first thing is entry in the cold storage of registers, and second thing is submission of ID proof of the relatives, so who is reported or whom the mortuary personnel they need to report, and the third is about the storage in the cabinet. And then so once it is for storaging and the COVID reports, otherwise the sample reports comes, then it's time to dispatch. So before dispatching, if a patient is getting of COVID positive, then the body needs to hand it over to the municipal corporation of authority. Otherwise, if the samples is negative, then normally as is the normal, the body can be handed over to the relatives, and then the signature of the body recipients. And the third thing is about a photography or proof of the vehicle in which the body is going to dispatched. To summarize, we have seen till now, so how to approach the patient who enter in the Department of Trauma and Emergency. So we have seen about how to resuscitate the patient, then how to observe the patients, and how to transport the patients to either ward or ICU, otherwise of any normal ward, along with the patient or the deceased also transport to the mortuary or somewhere else. So I hope this may use for everyone for your futuristic reference. Thanks for the listening, and if you're having any queries, text in the chat box for the clarifications. Thank you.